The Four Nations final is set, and we have an official checklist for Series 2. This is episode 40 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. This is episode 40 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast with myself, Mike Distefano, and my co-host, Anthony Santini. We're a weekly Wednesday show diving deep into the world of hockey card collecting, flipping, and investing. You can find us up on YouTube, and we're also on Spotify for you on-the-go audio listeners. Anthony, it's a big day. I know we typically do put out our podcasts on Wednesdays, but due to some complications, we had to push recording to Thursday. It's a big day, buddy, in the hockey world. We got the Four Nations face-off, USA, Canada for the championship, and man, it's going to be a good one. How excited are you?
Oh, I'm way too excited. I couldn't even imagine sitting Saturday night telling me after those three fights started that I was going to get a second chance to watch Canada USA. That was already as crazy as it was. Now to see them battle it out for the gold medal, and we know just how crazy that's going to be tonight. Obviously, a couple hours ago, it was reported too that Donald Trump had something to say, obviously on Twitter, and actually gave Team USA a little bit of a bump through the phone. So I am way too excited for tonight, and definitely hoping for a quick start, just like on Saturday.
You think Trudeau has the same cachet if you were to call into Canada? You think he could get the troops ready to rock if he puts in a phone call?
I mean, it's possible. Who knows? I guess a couple people would look to decline that call, but we'll see.
I don't think it would be received the same way. But anyways, you were down in Boston this past weekend, taking in the festivities, going in the Four Nations fan zone. You went to the Canada-Finland game on Monday. So, take me through your experience down at the Four Nations face-off, buddy.
Yeah, so we actually traveled up, my girlfriend and I, on Saturday night, headed up to Boston, shipped out to Boston, as the song would say. And we attended the Canada-Finland game. It was just an amazing time. There was an awesome buzz to the city, which was unlike any experience I've ever felt. Being in sort of a tournament atmosphere in the city, walking around was absolutely amazing. Boston's known for everything being walking distance, borderline a 20 to 30-minute walk. And how nice it was as good as could be, but with how cold it was a little tough. So we definitely did bundle up. But I mean, getting there, we saw people all over the city. I met a ton of players, took a bunch of photos that I posted on our Sports Cards GTA Instagram, and I'll end up posting on the Hockey Card Haven Instagram. But most of the Team USA team, a good chunk of the Team Finland team, and just about everyone was ready to talk when I met them. UC Saros, one of the nicest guys I met for sure. Kyle Connor, absolute awesome guy.
You didn't have any cards on you, any young guns to get signed by anyone?
I mean, I didn't bring any cards with me from home, but actually at the fan village that they did right beside City Hall, they gave away a little pack of Hockey Helps or Hockey Fights Cancer with just some free base cards. And I did bring those around. I had a McDavid, a Theodore, an Ottinger, just a couple players that maybe I would see in and around the city with some markers in me, but I didn't see any of those players, so I didn't even get the chance to ask for any autographs. But it would have been cool. The photos were enough for me.
Yeah, no, it's still pretty cool to be able to meet some of those players. I mean, they're the best in the world, right? The best of the best. So sit there, meet them, maybe ask them a question or two. It's a pretty cool experience. Saw you had a run in with Biz also while you were down there.
Yeah, I saw Biz actually at the fan village. They were doing in the Discover booth. He was doing like an autograph, meet and greet, photos type of thing. Met Keith Tkachuk. Actually, funny enough, I don't even know if I told you guys. Keith Tkachuk, walked up to him, talked to him, got a photo, and let him know that Matthew Tkachuk actually wasn't going to be playing in that Monday night game, which he turned and said, "What? Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, like Frank Cervalli just tweeted about it." He's like, "Isn't that crazy that I found out through a fan and not through my own kid?" And we had a little bit of a chuckle there. So I thought that was a pretty cool moment. But that was at the Fan Village. Walked by a bunch of saw Gary Bettman at the mall with his wife, which was surreal.
Boo.
Logan and I
hit him
were
with
just
a boo.
No, I was in shock actually just seeing him. It was so casual. Like you almost forget that these ultra mega superstars in our sport are just regular people too. Saw Jacob Slavin at Lululemon, kind of just gave him the nod and good luck on Thursday. Super nice guy. It was an awesome time though. All around awesome time.
Should have kicked him in the shin. Should have just kicked him in the shin, took him for the team. That's awesome. No, it's really cool. I mean, those events are always awesome to be around, right? The fan fest and whatnot. There's always so much fun going on. Upper Deck was in attendance, I saw, and I believe you got your own hockey card made while you were down there. You want to show off that bad boy to the camera?
I got the Upper Deck booth here. Took a little photo on at the Fan Village. This is really nice too. I mean, the condition of the card would definitely not get a PSA 10. The closer I look, the edges and the corners are just
PSA 10s don't exist anymore, buddy. It's
I know
now to get 10s anyway. You'd be lucky to get an 8, pal. You're probably looking more like a 6 or a 7 seems to be, with my luck at least. Jeez, look at that. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. What's on the? Sorry, show the back again. Actually,
yeah.
What does it say on the back?
So on the back is just a little shot. Four Nations face-off on February 17th. The inaugural Four Nations face-off moved to TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. TD Garden also played host to the championship game on February 20th. We hope you enjoy this personalized trading card to commemorate the event for years to come. The interesting part about this card that I thought about was Go on.
No, all you.
The interesting part was it is certified by Upper Deck on the bottom. So my question that I had to myself, not really that I had any plans, but if I were to send this to PSA to get it authenticated as an Upper Deck card, I'd wonder if they would authenticate it, because technically it does have on the bottom all the information for being an Upper Deck card. Obviously, no.
I mean, what are they going to call it? Like PSA, like what, fan fest card? Like,
I don't know. Think so. I'm not sure.
What would they put
I'm
on
not exactly sure.
I don't know. They're 1 of 1, baby. It's a 1 of 1. Anthony Santini. It's a 1 of 1 though. So hey, maybe consider it 1 of 1. Whether it's a PSA 6, 7, 10, it'd be a 1 of 1.
And there's only one.
I was thinking about this though, and actually, before I get to that, I do got to ask: did it come in the One Touch, or did you put it in the One Touch?
I put it in the One Touch. It came as just as is. Yeah. Kept it in the wallet. Hopefully,
is it in like the same same material that like a regular base card is in?
Yeah, it's
glossy on the front. Yeah,
glossy on the front. Like it has that little shine to it. It does have the nice. There's a better shot of it.
Yeah,
a little bit of a nice like cardboard thickness where it's not really just like paper, right? It actually does have that card texture to it. So obviously nothing to grade or resell or anything like that, but definitely a card that will be added to the PC. So really sweet. Really happy with that one.
I think maybe Mama Santini might be a collector for that card. So if you want to flip it to Mom's at one point, maybe she'll give you top dollar for it. I'm not sure anyone else is willing to, pal. I think that's a PC card right there.
For sure. I know that they do this Upper Deck personalized card at almost all the Fan Village events.
Yeah,
they did it last year at the 2024 All-Star Game. One of my buddies has a photo of him, similar card. So in the future, if you ever see it, make sure to go take a photo, because it was free within 5 minutes. Everything was all cut up, handed to us, and everyone was more than happy to.
I believe they even were doing it at Expo. If I'm not mistaken, you could get a card made at Expo. Yeah, they were doing little cards. Whether it was either Upper Deck or maybe eBay and Upper Deck together were doing some sort of collaboration. But there was at the spring or at the winter Expo, because it was pretty much like right beside where the Gong Show guys were situated, kind of by Slab Shark. So I don't know if they're going to be doing it again this year, but I know they did it last time. But yeah, pretty cool situation. I hope that Upper Deck can capitalize on the Four Nations tournament here. Like, it's been a fantastic kind of week-long, 10-day-long tournament, and we get some sort of card set, whether maybe it's an insert set, Four Nations insert, where, you get to see the players rocking their nations jerseys, whether it's Crosby or McKinnon or Patrick Laine, Austin Matthews, whoever it may be, somehow, some way work a little Four Nations set into one of the existing, whether it's its own thing later on in the year, perhaps it could be, or they add it into some other set like a SP game used, and they can maybe grab some of the jerseys and gear that was used perhaps and make another kind of subset or something like that. I think that'd be really cool to kind of capitalize on this from a card perspective if you're Upper Deck.
I
All
mean,
right,
even
so
too, it's better to have what's it called? Maybe something sort of like a game dated moments out in 9.99. Imagine just seeing like that Mitch Marner overtime winner, the Matthew Tkachuk fight, Brady Tkachuk fight. I
yeah,
don't know about the JT Miller fight. I'm not a fan about that one, but
yeah.
that's a time for another. That's a
I mean,
story for another
that
day.
was a sick fight too. Like, honestly, that was just like, I mean, that was the hat trick. That was the one that kind of set everything way over top on that fight. But yeah, I think it'd be really cool. It's interesting that Upper Deck hasn't, like, for all intents and purposes, copied the Tops Now and the Panini Now or Panini Instant. What they do, where they are always making these moments big and they're selling those cards, and you have what I think it's like 48 hours to buy it, and then
Right.
after that it's unavailable, and that's how many they print, and that's the print run. I mean, I'm sure that Marner goal would add a lot of Canadian card collectors buying that. I'm sure the Tkachuk fights probably would have had a lot of American, people buying those cards. So yeah, I think that would have been that's something that Upper Deck, I'm sure, is looked into. I don't know if there's licensing issues as to why they couldn't do it. I don't see why they couldn't, but I think it's something that they really should try and capitalize on, because there's a lot of cool moments in the sport of hockey that that I think you could definitely capitalize on from a business perspective if you are Upper Deck. All right, really quickly before we get into some more card talk, because Series 2 released yesterday. I got the email of the checklist, not the set itself, but the checklist has been released for Series 2. So we do have the list of all the young guns that are going to be in Series 2. So we'll go through that. We'll talk about some of the top young guns that are that you can chase. So we'll get into that in just a little bit, but let's wrap this Four Nations face-off conversation up here. It's the final tonight, Canada, USA, and who you got?
I really want to pick Canada. I want to see Canada win so bad. I think they're going to pull out like a squeaker 3-1 with an empty netter. I'm scared though of the USA and how well their team's built. They played so well Saturday night. I do think that McAvoy is a big loss for them. I think that Canada is going to be able to step up though and hopefully take this one, but it's going to be a big physical game tonight, and I just can't wait for it. I'm itching all day. I got Canada though.
I think I pretty much agree with most of the sentiment. I do have Canada winning the tournament as well. I was Team USA kind of all the way through, and for me, it's just USA. The physicality has taken a toll, I think, and you've got the Kachucks both kind of banged up. No Charlie McAvoy. Austin Matthews dealing with something. Apparently, there's an illness kind of going all throughout the room. So it seems like a pretty beat up team at this point. And I was chatting with a buddy of mine, and he kind of likened it to the first time the Florida Panthers made it to the Stanley Cup final and they lost to Vegas. I mean, you look at that team and they played so well the first 3 rounds, but they got absolutely dusted in the cup final because it all came back to bite them. The physicality, they couldn't last 4 rounds of it. Matt Tkachuk ended up getting hurt, and then it really all kind of fell apart from there. I think we could see something similar for USA. I think they're just a little too beaten up, and it's going to catch up to them in this game. And I think, too, it's just difficult to beat a team twice in the same tournament. It's a good team twice in the same tournaments. In Canada, there's so many players on that roster that are just too smart and have such a high level of hockey IQ where they can learn from that game Saturday and figure out how to generate more, how to score more, how to get to those areas, and they'll figure out a way to beat the Americans. I truly, truly believe that. So I'm with you. I think Canada ends up taking it. I think it's going to be a big moment from Mr. Connor McDavid tonight. I think he's going to have a big game. I really do. So we're both on Canada. Let's hope that it happens. By the time most of the people probably get this and listen to this, it may be over and done with, and we may have some egg on our face, and the Americans might come out victorious. But I will remind everybody that back in 2010, the last time that the Americans beat the Canadians in a best-on-best tournament, it was in the round robin, similarly to the way it was here at the Four Nations. But when it came down to it, when it was clutch time to put everything on the line for the gold medal, it was Canada that came out victorious in Vancouver. We'll see if they can do it again tonight. Fun fact, Canada, they have 14 Stanley Cup champions. USA, just 3 Stanley Cup champions. So Canada built by winners. USA, on paper, looks good. We'll see what it looks like tonight. Another thing that might concern people out in the US of A, Connor Hellebuck. This is the first must-win that he's been in for the Americans. And, well, for the Winnipeg Jets, he has not fared well in must-win games himself when it comes to the playoffs. So another thing that kind of goes against the Americans. So go Canada, go. We're definitely here at the Hockey Card Haven hoping for a Canadian victory. We'll do a deep dive next week and kind of recap how the tournament did from a hobby perspective, see whose market benefited most and how it impacted the hobby. I know that I was just kind of taking a peek and I guess seeing, all right, well, what's going on here? What name do you think? And I haven't looked into everyone, but there was one name in particular that has really seen a surge in total sales volume. Not necessarily that the cards have gone, astronomically high. They have gone up a little bit, but in terms of volume, name me a player who you think may have benefited a lot from this tournament.
Are they still playing right now? Will they be playing tonight?
Give me one hint. Tonight. Yes.
All right. I'm going to guess. I'm torn between a couple different players. I think Crosby would be a pretty solid answer. I'm going to go with Crosby.
Crosby's, a solid answer, but Crosby's a guy who just always sells. Like he's Sidney freaking Crosby. Brandon Hagel. You look at eBay sales for Brandon Hagel the last week, there's a lot of sales data on Brandon Hagel. So he has been way up. And obviously, I'm sure that stems from the fight against Tkachuk. The words he had talking about fighting for the flag. It's making a lot of fans up here in Canada. I'm sure a lot of people might be starting up at Brandon Hagel PC. Just because he's been an absolute beauty. So I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, Anthony, let's move along here. Series 2 checklist is now out. Upper Deck Series 2, Flagship Series 1, obviously, was released back in October, early November. Lane Hudson was, the big chase, still is the big, massive chase. We'll see if Hudson values remain high once Series 2 comes out and the new chase begins for some of these players. That'll be something to kind of keep an eye on, obviously. But I thought that, there was the leak about a month or so ago. I don't know if you remember, we talked about it on the show. There was, it was like a conference at the beginning of the year with Upper Deck retailers and their partners and all the store owners and stuff got to go. And someone snagged a picture of what the checklist was going to look like and posted it. And we weren't sure if it was real. Turns out that it's real because, Anthony, not only are we indeed getting Michkov Celebrinin and Michkov in Series 2, we're also getting those young gun teammate cards that was kind of teased in that photo as well. Let's start with the young guns class, though, before we kind of move on to the teammates thing and whether or not we do or don't like it. I'll name some of the more promising chases, and you could tell me which ones kind of stick out to you, or if I missed any, I suppose. So I'll bring it up on the screen because I've got it up here. Thank you to Beckett for always having the checklists out there. So Michkov Celebrinin is obviously the main chase, right? He was the number 1 overall pick. He's been a stud for the San Jose Sharks. He's card number 451. He's the big guy there. And then you keep going down a little bit, and I don't know. There's a lot of like okay names here, like Maxim Siplikov for the Islanders. He's been decent, but it's not a great market. Victor Mancini actually was recently traded to the Vancouver Canucks in the JT Miller deal. You kind of have to go back down to like Jackson Blake, who's the son of Jason Blake. He's had a really good season for the Carolina Hurricanes for a young kid. So Jackson Blake, I think, is a decent secondary, tertiary chase. Rutger McGroarty of the Pittsburgh Penguins, I think, is a big-time chase also. One of those secondary ones that's probably in the same boat as a Jackson Blake. Callum Ritchie, Connor Geeky of the Tampa Bay Lightning, I know a lot of people like. Ivan of the Colorado Avalanche has has scored some goals this year. Jet Lashenko, who was a first-round pick of the Flyers this past year, the reason why he's in Series 2 is because he got a little taste. He got that taste, and he played a few games for the Philadelphia Flyers, which made him eligible for Series 2. So Jet Lashenko will be another secondary, tertiary chase here. Seamus Casey's a solid defenseman for the New Jersey Devils. He might turn into something. Matvei Michkov, number 492 for the Philadelphia Flyers. That obviously is the second big chase in this class with Macklin Celebrini. But outside of those names that I just mentioned, maybe a Zach LaRue, you could possibly make a case for, Joel Blomqvist, a talented goaltender for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of big names, I guess, in Series 2, but the fact that there are two big chases, I think is pretty solid in Macklin Celebrini and Matvei Michkov.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what's going to sell the boxes too. You're not going to drive to a hobby shop to go buy a box that has Connor Geeky, Zach LaRue, Young Guns, but it's definitely going to help when you are picking up boxes to chase Macklin Celebrini and Matvei Michkov. I do think that this was a pleasant surprise to see because we were bang on from the video we made just a month ago with the leak that was sent out through the checklist. So I'm pretty excited for this one. Obviously, any Canadian looking to pick up a Macklin Celebrini card, this is your time. This is the box. And finally, you could start chasing the exclusives, the high gloss, the clear cuts, etc. But there's a couple names on that list, too, like you mentioned, that will help the box. Connor Geeky, a guy for sure, like I said, Tampa Bay Lightning. Also pleasantly surprised. As you know, everyone that watches the podcast knows, I don't want to see player Young Guns in their draft jerseys if they were traded. And everyone knows Connor Geeky was drafted to the Arizona Coyotes and then ultimately traded to.
Did he play any games in Arizona, though? I don't think he played any games in Arizona, so I believe he'll be in a Tampa jersey.
It would be a Tampa jersey as noted in the checklist, but I believe that he did play a preseason or near end of season game for the Coyotes. I believe. I don't know if you want to check up on that, but
double check.
Ultimately, I am pretty satisfied with the checklist. I do think that it's finally time for me to buy a box because I haven't ripped anything in so long. I'm chatting with Eric. He's ripped a couple boxes in the last month, even just for fun, and to realize that, you kind of have to do that when the new, it is quote unquote, as you call it, Happy New Year's. It is New Year's when the new series does drop, when the flagship drops. I know that O-Pee-Chee came out this week, always fired up for that. Ivan, another guy that we talked about really playing well this year, a little bit of a sprinkle from last year when his name was dropped. But like you said, ultimately the Teammates Young Guns card is going to be something that I'll have my eye on for sure. I don't know if it's going to, make the boxes fly off the shelves, but I do think it will put more eyeballs on the set.
Well, so we didn't quite get into that just yet. So why don't we bring that up, the Teammate Young Guns cards here? And I think it's real interesting because it's something that we haven't seen before. All right, so we've got we're taking a look. Where did I leave off there, Anthony? I
got it.
Thing came unplugged here, but what was the last thing that you remember me saying, pal?
Well, you were going on about the new Teammate Young Guns, which we haven't yet seen before, but they are incoming now officially. I know that we had our eyes on them a month ago, but now officially they are on their way, and a lot of good names on it.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at it. So we got Matvey Michkov and Ivan Fedotov of the Philadelphia Flyers. We've got Logan Mailloux and Lane Hudson of the Montreal Canadiens. Olin Zellweger and Cutter Gauthier of the Anaheim Ducks. And then Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith from the San Jose Sharks. And then the Young Guns checklist will be Macklin Celebrini and Matvey Michkov. First and foremost, your thoughts on this new endeavor by Upper Deck. The fact that they have decided to use up the final 4 slots of the Young Guns checklist for these teammate cards.
I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. I know that one thing that I noted when we first talked about it was I don't want it to come out and be sort of similar to the checklist. And your rebuttal to that was you didn't think so. You thought that these cards were actually going to be quite collectible. And even when you look at people that collect teams, anyone that played for the teams, a card like Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini dual Young Gun teammate card would definitely be something desirable. I think it's going to be cool. It's grown on me, even just looking at Zellweger and Cutter Gauthier, a franchise forward and defenseman, possibly on the same card, on the same Young Guns teammate card. I'm just really excited to see how this card could differ from the Young Guns checklist, because I know we've grown accustomed to those.
I mean, the checklist, you got all the checklist, you got the names on the back. It's a checklist. Like that's how it's going to be different, right? Like in terms of the front, you mean? I think it'll probably look the same, to be honest with you. Like we'll probably have it split in half. Possibly it could actually, if it's teammates, Upper Deck sifts through all the photos and finds one of them together on the ice. So it's one photo as opposed to a split box. That would be preferable, I guess. Definitely would be preferable. So yeah, we'll see what they end up doing there. I don't look, I think realistically, the only 2 that are going to be chase worthy, we'll call it, to me, is probably going to be the Macklin Celebrini one, because again, it's a Celebrini Young Guns of some kind, and also Will Smith does not have a Young Guns yet, so it'll kind of be his first Young Guns that you can pick up, kind of, with a bit of an asterisk. And then obviously the Lane Hudson, Logan Mailloux one, because they're Montreal Canadiens. So I think for that reason, we probably will end up seeing, those ones sell decently. I do think like there are some pre-sales on eBay right now. Whether or not these prices remain this high, this is just kind of what we're looking at right now. But like a Macklin Celebrini Raw Young Guns is looking at $325 right now for that one. Yeah, for that one. Jackson Blake, $30 for a Jackson Blake is what we're looking at for him. Rutger McGroarty is probably in that same range, $35.
That's
for
not bad.
Yeah, your boy Connor Geeky, $25 for Connor Geeky of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jet Lashenko is also $35 from the Philadelphia Flyers. Now I'm curious about the teammates cards. So Celebrini and Will Smith selling right now $40. So that's for the Celebrini Will Smith. The Hudson Mailloux selling for $35. So I don't know if there's going to be as much fanfare for these. I really am not sure. I think it's a tad gimmicky, and to me it feels like Upper Deck is kind of, I don't know if they're cheating in a way, like doing it this way, whether or not they wanted to do this, or maybe they ran out of names and they wanted to hold off for some guys in extended. I don't know, but it definitely is kind of curious as to why all of a sudden they're doing something like this, because a teammates Young Guns feels more like an extended insert than it does a series 1 or series 2. So that's my only kind of bugaboo I have with this whole thing. But I do think that the Hudson Mailloux one will be collectible. Whether it's got a lot of value is to be determined. And I think that the Celebrini and Smith one will also be collectible. The value we'll see. But that's kind of where I stand on that. All right, Anthony, we got to wrap things up. It's going to be a bit of a shorter show here today, but I did want to talk a little bit about something that came across our timelines yesterday. And shout out to, I guess, the Hockey Card Gong Show for posting about this, but did you see the Connor Bedard Young Guns, quote, Young Guns, e-pack achievement card that sold on eBay the other day?
I saw.
So I'm going to pull up what the card looks like. So this is what the card looks like. So it looks like a 24-25 upper deck. I don't know why it's not allowing me to scroll up, but anyway, it looks like a 24-25 Young Guns, but it's Connor Bedard. Obviously, he does not have a Young Guns in this set, and it's numbered to 100 because it's an exclusive. Now, this is an e-pack achievement card that you get when you I believe it's complete the full canvas set on ePack. You get an exclusive some sort of exclusive parallel, and one is obviously Connor Bedard, and I think it's sold for like over $1,000 US, which to me is kind of absurd for a second year insert card, but I guess whatever, people do whatever they want with their money. I don't like, it's way too soon to have like a Connor Bedard Young Guns tribute card, like a tribute retro renewed, like whatever the hell you want to call it. It is way too soon to be doing this for Bedsy.
No, for sure. I mean, just making it confusing for collectors, especially new collectors, when you look at a Connor Bedard Young Guns, and obviously it looks like these are going to be numbered out of 100, so obviously very short print, but we talked about it with the Young Gun Renewed set, how we both really didn't love the fact that, it could be even more challenging for new collectors to get into the hobby because you're kind of second guessing, wait a minute, is this really the Young Gun? And like you said, way, way, way too soon to do a Young Gun sort of retro where it looks back as an achievement. I don't love it personally. I do think, however, it's a nice looking card. It looks great. I mean, obviously, it looks like right now Upper Deck is pushing their e-pack. There was another announcement last week that the one-of-one Connor McDavid Young Guns outburst was pulled through e-pack. Another conversation where you kind of sit back and question, is this really what we want to turn the hobby into? Do you really want to transition to an electronic form of where the biggest cards are pulled? But right now for this Connor Bedard one, I love the look of it. It looks great. I also love the design from that year too, the gray with the red. But I don't think that this was necessary. I don't think so.
No, I don't either. I just think it's too soon. And like I just think like we're oversaturating the Young Guns market. And again, this is not a real Young Guns. This is not a rookie card. It is, an achievement card that is printed in 24-25. So it's not his rookie, despite it saying Young Guns on it, which is why it's somewhat confusing. And again, we're just oversaturating the Young Guns market. Like you look at tributes, you look at retros, you look at, these Young Guns reneweds, and now you're getting, Young Guns achievement cards, tribute achievement cards that don't really matter, but look as though they're part of the Young Guns family. I don't know. I just think Upper Deck's going a little bit too overboard with this whole Young Guns nonsense. They did announce, though, also to go back to the Connor McDavid one-of-one gold retro Young Guns that sold on ePack. The checklist, they announced what the new 5 players are going to be for the retro Young Guns outburst. Mika Zibanejad, Philip Forsberg, Nikita Kucherov, Jack Hughes, and Wyatt Johnston. So kind of a random couple of names there, but Kucherov, Jack Hughes, and Wyatt Johnston, I'm sure we'll have some hobbyists kind of excited to collect those. Not quite Connor McDavid, we'll say that. Not quite Connor McDavid, but I'm sure people will still be looking for those and hunting, especially to find the gold one-of-ones and the red rubies paralleled to 25. All right. So quickly, some hobby news. O-Pee-Chee paper has been released today, so you can go out and get some O-Pee-Chee paper. Series 2 is going to be releasing on March 5th. And so Allure came out, and then EX200 coming out next week. 23-24 EX200 coming out next week. All right, Anthony, any pickups this week?
No pickups yet. Away in Boston, had no opportunity to really buy anything online. hopefully going to make it out to a show this weekend so that for next week's episode, when we do the Four Nations recap, I could do a little bit of expo preparation pickups, because that's kind of the goal right now, as we're around 2 months out until the expo, but nothing for me just yet.
Yeah, I didn't make it to any shows either this week. I'm like lagging. Why am I lagging so bad? Oh, it's
No,
my
you're
computer.
good.
No, my computer's gonna die. From my end, it looks like I'm lagging. I think my computer's getting ready to shut off of me. 3%. Don't have my charger on me. That's nice. Yeah, I didn't get any cards either, to be honest with you. I was working a lot this week, and hoping to maybe possibly get out to a show this weekend. I know there's a lot of them within GTA in Southern Ontario. There's a Cambridge show at Hespeler Arena on Saturday. There's the MSC Sports Card and Collectible show in Etobicoke on Saturday. There's a Leaside show in Toronto, and then also the M&L show in St. Catharines, one that I usually set up for, but won't be able to this weekend, unfortunately. Yeah, bunch of shows to go to if people are interested. All right, that's going to do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe right here on YouTube and also on Spotify for you on-the-go listeners. We'll be back next Wednesday with another episode of the Hockey Card Haven podcast.